Now, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go into an optional session because we've got something very exciting to share with our existing audience. And for those of you that are newer to us, you feel free to stick around. I'm going to give you a resource. So if you've never heard what I'm about to talk about now, it may seem, oh, wow, that's a little bit much. That's a little bit more than, I don't understand what all that means. I'm going to give you a resource so that you will be able to go back and play a little catch-up, if you will, okay? A video training that we did. So give us just a moment so I can log into our training account. What I do want to do very quickly for our new folks that are just joining with us, and again, welcome to the family. Bear with me. Give us just a moment. Okay. All right, so I do want to welcome you to the family. This is going to be your back office. It's a state-of-the-art back office, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be hard-pressed to find any company in pre-launch with the type of functionality and the type of investment of not only money but time into our back office. The great thing about our back office, ladies and gentlemen, and some of you will understand the importance of this, is that our entire system has been built from the ground up, as opposed to having to go to a company and purchase their system and, you know, have the constraints of what their system allows, okay? Our programmers continue to say, if you can think it and dream it, we can program it, okay? And so far, they've been able to do so. All right, so now what you're going to do when you register with the person who got you to tonight's webinar, once you get registered, you're going to go to www.JubiMax.com/members, okay? And that is going to bring you into this page here once you use your login details. If you're new with us, what I'm going to want you to do is click on where it says upgrade. And even if you are not new with us, but you've not yet started to load funds, here are the ways that you can start to load funds. The four primary ones I'll have you look at real quickly: PAYSA and STP, Solid Trust Pay. If you're already have some type of internet enterprise, chances are you may already have PAYSA and Solid Trust Pay set up. You may already have funds in those systems, and you can load money right from there, and it happens automatically. If you're in the U.S. and you would prefer to use an online check, an e-check, you can use the ACH option. It takes as many as 7 business days, but the system is integrated so the company knows that you are in the funding process. And the most cost-efficient way, if you're not using PAYSA or Solid Trust Pay, is a wire, whether you're domestic to the U.S. or international outside of the U.S. The wire, once again, the system alerts corporate that a wire is on its way and for what the amount is coming. The reason that's important real quickly is between now, this is very important, between now and March 22nd, we have a very important Founders promotion. So if you align with us, you load funds before then, you're going to be considered a founder. You have a nice little emblem back there. You'll be able to tell the whole world, hey, I was a founder. I was there when JubiRev, before JubiRev got started. I'm a founder. I'm a founding member. From a pure economic standpoint, if you are a founder and you make a purchase, so you've loaded funds, and in a few short days, pay attention to our presidential announcements this coming Monday, you're going to be able to actually purchase your products, purchase your monthly subscription. You can't do that tonight, but make sure you're on our webinar on Monday night to hear from our president. Well, when you do that, when you purchase JubiBucks, remember that's the inventory, all right? You want to purchase a subscription, but when you purchase JubiBucks, you're going to get a 15% Jubi point match. Now, this is how this works. Let's say you purchased 1,000 JubiBucks. Normally what would happen is once you give away your 1,000 JubiBucks, you'd earn 1,000 Jubi points for your daily rewards. The more points you have, the more money you make. However, if you load funds and you make that purchase by March 22nd, ladies and gentlemen, and there'll be some of you that maybe funds are still in transit, the company will be able to see that. So if you're not able to make a purchase before March 22nd, but the company sees that the funds are on the way, then when you do have the funds in your system and you make that purchase, you'll still get your 15% match. So this is what would happen. Instead of getting 1,000 Jubi points, you get 1,150. And remember, if you are a Diamond Director these extra 150 Jubi points earned for 105 days. So that can be very, very significant. There's a second part of the promotion. Congratulations to Cynthia. This is really big because if you start to build a referral network and you do refer others personally, that take advantage of the Founders Promotion. All right, so they upload funds and they make a purchase of Jubi Bucks as well. You're going to get an additional 10% Jubi point match. Now, you would normally receive up to a 10% commission. Remember, I showed you that as a Diamond Director. But now you'll get a 10% Jubi point match. So what does this mean? It should be point, by the way. Okay? What does this mean? Maybe you enroll 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And collectively, they collectively purchase 10,000 in Jubi Bucks. Well, you would normally get as much as a 10% commission anyway. You make $1,000. Congratulations. Now what you would also receive is a 10% Jubi point match. So you would earn an additional 1,000 Jubi points to your pool. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen folks take full advantage and be very aggressive in a pre-launch and a Founders Promotion like what we're offering here. And we've seen folks that because of this additional match here, we've seen folks that by the time the daily revenue started, they were already at 20,000, 30,000, 50,000. I believe that we will have folks that will be at 100,000 Jubi points by the time the daily rewards start. All right, so as you are coming in line with us, and now I'm going to get into the Jubi Suite that I want to share with you. As you come in line with us, click on that upgrade. All right, and over here where it says promoter links, you'll see your link that you can get out to folks to have them to hear our message and go on and register, and maybe they'll upgrade, and maybe they'll purchase during this Founders Promotion period, and you not only get commissions, but you also get those additional matches. Okay, now, very, very exciting. On Monday night, we're going into training mode right now. On Monday night, we shared with our audience that our Jubi Suite was going live, but primarily at that time on Monday on a test basis, okay? And then we got some phenomenal feedback from the field. By the way, when I say we, I'm a promoter just like you guys, okay? I was just tapped to be because of our skill set and because of you know, what we've done in the industry to help get the field up and running, help be a field liaison, and of course in time you'll hear a lot more voices than just mine. All right, but it started on a test basis, and then we got tremendous response from some phenomenal leaders out there saying, hey, love the test, but man, I'm ready for this to be permanent. Okay, and so tonight at 1 a.m., actually I should say Friday morning, at 1 a.m. Eastern Time, anything that's been done on the test basis is going to be reset. It's going to probably take, from what programming is saying, about 30 minutes to reset. So really about 1:30-ish a.m. For those of you Eastern Time, you want to stick around and stay up for it, feel free. Or you just want to go to bed and get up in the morning, and you know that when that happens, of course, many of you around the world, it's already the next day. This is going to go live and permanent. This is going to go live and permanent. Now, for my newer folks, I want you to make a note of something, okay? I want you to make a note that under training, recorded calls, training, recorded calls, there is a training on what we call our Jubi Suite. Video number 2, corporate training, Jubi Suite. I would have you to make it a homework assignment to spend some time over the weekend viewing that entire video. I'd have you to do that, number 1. So training, recorded calls, video number 2, Jubi Suite. The other thing I would have you to do, watch this one first, is then I would have you to come to training, comp plan, and then watch video number 4. That's going to explain that chart that I said to you that had the 0.5%, that could be the biggest income earner of anything that we have in our model. All right, so recorded calls, Jubi Suite, watch that first, then come back here, training comp plan, video number 4, power of the 8 levels. Okay, now I'm going to now assume that the rest of you at least have some insight of what the Jubi Suite is. If you don't, and you feel like you're getting confused, you probably just want to jump off and get with the person who invited you and go on and get registered. If you want to stick around knowing that you might get a little confused, then just make a commitment to go back and watch those videos I shared with you. All right, so now what are you going to do, ladies and gentlemen? You're going to come under my Jubi team. Talk about the Jubi Suite. You're going to come under my Jubi team. Now, the potency of the Jubi Suite, I want to go back to what Ayabumi Moore shared with us in our Empower Me Now moment. She says, make a decision to live the life you want and give and sow and benefit others. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. One of the challenges in this industry, you know, there's an old adage that says you go wide or width for profitability. I'm in training mode now. This is all optional, okay? By the way, some of you remember when you used to do mainly offline meetings and you would go to the meeting, right, the presentation like what we just had, and then you would go to the meeting after the meeting. This is the meeting after the meeting. We're at IHOP. We're at Waffle House. We're at the meeting after the meeting. And very often, the meeting after the meeting was even more important, and you gleaned more at the meeting after the meeting than you did at the meeting. They're both important, but this is the meeting after the meeting. If you have to leave, we love you. We understand that. But I want to make sure you get this. Here we go. With equals profitability. Profitability. Don't know if I spelled that right. I'm a college kick out. Meaning, if you personally recruit, you personally enroll a lot of folks, what typically happens in this industry, whether you are talking about recruiting someone that does business or a customer that does business with you, normally the person doing the recruiting or doing the selling is going to get the lion's share of the commission payout, and that's fair. That person did the work. And so typically, the wider you are or the more you personally enroll, the more money you're going to wind up making from the referral network, okay? However, you want to build depth for security. You see, not only do you want to go wide so you make a lot of money, but you want to make sure that your teammates are starting to make some money also. That's how you build depth. You want to have teammates that never want to leave you, that always want to be associated with you, that always want to be a part of your following, help them make some money. Now, that's been a challenge in many traditional MLMs, but it's not the issue here with JubiRev. And so we've given you this tool called a Jubi Suite that allows you to go wide for profitability and build depth at the same time. Okay, all right, so now let's go. So we're going to go under, this is a test account, by the way, all right, so none of the things that you're going to see here are like real promoters. These are all test accounts, all right? So I'm going to go here to where it says Jubi Suite. I'm going to go here to where it says Jubi Suite, okay? All right, so now when you come here to the Jubi Suite, you're going to notice this position right here is your position. This is you. So put your name here, or if you're building through a corporate entity or what have you, this is you. And you're going to see here the people that are, if it's in gray, then this obviously means if they're in gray, these are people that have not been placed. So these folks here are on your first level. They've been enrolled by you. They've been enrolled by you, okay? Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. The Jubi Suite allows you one time and one time only. So when this goes live at 1 a.m., 1:30-ish a.m., and it is permanent, then any move you make will be permanent. So some of you may choose still not to make a move yet until you're more sure as to how you want to place. So in this case here, you've got Jubi Training that has a few personally enrolled. It's got Susie Average, Mary average, and Jane average. Now, what you can do is you can run contests, and we're going to strongly suggest you consider running contests. Cynthia says, hey, we just hit 100 personal enrollees. Now, I don't know if that was her personally or through the combination of her team. Congratulations either way. Now, here's the thing. So we've got folks, we've got a young lady, I believe, out of Vegas named Bridget, all right? Bridget, forgive me if I spell your name wrong. I think I spelled it wrong. I don't think you spelled it exactly like that. The last time I saw the leaders board, Bridget had like some 300 plus personal enrollees. Then there's a buddy of mine named Sean. He's got some 500 plus personal enrollees. My gosh, what are you doing? There's a buddy of mine, Jeff. Jeff has probably just under 100 personal enrollees. Congratulations. Phenomenal. Susanna out of France. A couple hundred, maybe she might be at 300 or so now, plus personal enrollees. Now that's great. That's width. That's width. That's width. But to maximize our compensation plan, you don't have to have 300 wide. Now go 300 wide, personally enroll 300, but this is what I mean by when I say you don't have to have 300 wide. She doesn't need to have necessarily, Susanna, 300 people on what we call a first level. What she can do is say, I'm only going to build 3 legs, 4 legs, 5 legs. You can maximize our compensation plan by building 3 legs, ladies and gentlemen. These right here, these are 3 legs. These are 3 legs. So in Susanna's case, she could run contests and say, hey, let's determine who's going to be my 3 legs or my 5 legs or 10 legs, whatever she decides. I can't decide for her. She's her own business builder. And she could say, I'm going to run a contest, and if you win my contest, you're going to be one of the legs I build through. But my gosh, she's got 200-300 people she's personally enrolled. My goodness. So if she only builds through 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 legs, what happens to those other 200 and some odd folks? She can place legs, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why would she want to do that? Because it helps her team grow. It helps her team make money. And she doesn't lose any of the generational bonuses we talked about. That 10% generational bonus we talked about, she doesn't lose that when she does a placing. You give, the more you give, the more you get. So now this is what's going to happen. Let's say, and I've done a lot of testing and moving with this. So before we had probably 8 or 9, 10 legs here, and I've already done some moving. But let me show you how this is going to work. Let's say that I've run a contest. I say Susie, Mary, Jane. I'm running a contest. And in the contest, you name the terms of the contest. Maybe it's the most personal enrollees in a certain period of time. Maybe it's the person that upgrades the fastest. Maybe it's the person that has the most volume in their organization in a certain period of time. You name the rules, all right? When someone is in your Jubi suite, their first level to you, you've got 60 days to decide to place them if you would like. If you don't place them, then they just are permanently where they are, okay? So now let's say we run a contest. We run a contest. And Mary, let's say Susie wins the contest. Susie wins the contest, okay? And so what we decide to do is we decide to place Jane. Maybe Jane was the runner-up. We decide to place Jane in Susie's organization because Susie won the contest. Now, the way you want to leverage this tool is as a leverage tool. Don't just put a leg in someone's organization just to do it. You know, do it because they either won a contest or they've made some commitments as to what they're going to do to help build the business. All right? So here we go. So now what we're going to do now is we're going to put Jane's leg, in Susie Average's leg. So this is what we would do, okay? We could simply click on Jane. Step 1 is we're going to select from the username, or we're going to select from the left, this is the left, or enter the username of the person that we want to move. Now the easiest way to do that is I want to move Jane, is just to click on Jane, and Jane pops up over there. Notice How this turned purple, all right? That highlighted Jane. All right. If I had not done that, all right, if I had not done that, excuse me. Another thing I could have done, the easiest way is simply to click there. Another thing I could have done is I could have started typing in Jane's name or username. Look at, now this was the functionality we didn't have on Monday, okay? I started to type in Jane. Oh, I put in JA, and guess what? It already brings up. It brings up, and now if there had been other people named Jane, or there had been other people that had Jane in their username, it would have given me the whole list, and I would have been able to choose who I wanted. So the easiest way is to simply click left click here, or I could search. I put in JA, the system brings up Jane average, same person, I can click there. All right, so now, step one, select from the left or enter the username of the person you want to move. I want to move Jane in Susie's leg. I want to move Jane in Susie's leg. So now I click continue. All right. Now, step two, type in the username of the placement sponsor. So if I wanted to move Jane directly to Susie, I could left click on Susie, and there you would see she pops up there. Okay? Now when I left click on Susie, for instance, oh, I just noticed something. I just noticed that Susie already has an organization. I just noticed that Susie has direct to her Franco average. And the fact that it's in gray means that Franco is personally enrolled by Susie. And Susie also has Sergio average. And the fact that it's in gray means that Sergio is personally referred by Susie. I also see here that beneath Franco, there is Parvati average and Joe average. Boy, but that's a different color. Huh. Well, what happens here is when you see someone in yellow, this tells you that these folks have been placed. These folks have been placed there. Okay? I also want you to notice something that we didn't have this past Monday. As you hover over any of these names, I want you to notice you see a username, you see the name of the person, you see what level they're on of yours, you see their rank. Why is that going to be important? Because you're then going to be able, once we upgrade and people have a monthly subscription, and we're live and people are getting sales, customers are buying stuff from us, then when you're moving folks, you're going to be able to see what is Jane's rank. If Jane is Diamond Director, for instance, I know that she is either on a $200 a month subscription, or this is all optional training here, or she's got $200 in business volume from sales that's happening. And I know that if I move Jane with Susie, or I move Jane with Sergio, that they are going to benefit commission-wise from Jane's production. I benefit if I was her enroller. She's in my unit level. Let's say I'm paid through a certain many levels. I benefit there. But I now helped my teammates, my gosh, I now helped my teammates make some money. And if Sergio is making more money, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Maybe he couldn't start off at a $200 a month subscription, but because maybe we placed Jane maybe in his organization, he's now earning more commissions, maybe he can upgrade. He maybe had to start at 15, but now he's making enough so he can upgrade to 50. He's at 50, now he makes enough in time to upgrade to 100. He's at 100, now he makes enough in uptime. This is all optional training. This is our meeting after the meeting to upgrade to 200. Oh, wait a minute. Remember that chart of half of a percent that I showed you? Now, if I placed Jane in Sergio's, which Susie won the contest, and maybe what I said to Susie was, I'm going to place a leg in your organization. It doesn't necessarily mean I had to place that leg direct to Susie. I could place that leg direct to Sergio. And then it impacts Sergio and Susie and me. What did Mrs. Aya Boomy Moore, Boomy for short, say to us? She said, make a decision to live the life that you want and benefit those around you. Gosh, this is so powerful. Oh, by the way, I got to show you this. We're in training. If you got to go, we love you. We're in training. Got to show you this. Got to show you this. What happens in time if you move Jane? Let's say you place him in Susie's leg, but linked to Sergio, and Jane builds. I mean, she becomes a builder. She has 100,000 Jubi points. My gosh, we saw this. Oh, we just didn't see this placement feature in this industry. This is all new. This is Jubi. This is Jubi. She builds to 100,000. And remember those examples I was giving you. The attorney wanted us to put up that chart. And let's say she made $1,250 that night as a reward, as opposed to 125 at 10,000. And what if maybe she put a couple $100 as commissions? What if she had 1,000 of that directed towards her Jubi bucks? Well, what just happened here by doing this placement? Remember the 0.5% I told you? Sergio would get 0.5% of that particular night. Oh, let's see. What is that? What is that? What is that? That's $5 that night as an override. What about the next night? And 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 by the way, you still personally enrolled, Jane. You were picking up maybe 10%. You were picking up $100 in commissions for the night. And it may not be that Jane built her Jubi points to 100,000, but maybe the combination of Jane and her teammates built that. And because you placed Jane in Susie's organization linked to Sergio in this example, that entire leg that Jane builds, whether it's one referral that begets another referral, or 100, or Cynthia who says, hey, our team just grew to 100. Congratulations to you, Cynthia. Oh my gosh, are you starting to see this? Now, I can't say this is going to happen, but if that happened, if that was in time, if that was something that was average on the day, do you see how you now help Sergio make more money, and maybe that helps him or her get to the point where they can upgrade if they're not already diamond directors? Do you see how now Sergio gets paid more, so he has more inventory that he is now getting on a daily basis, which now means the commissions on that you're getting, they increase? If Sergio's earning more daily, that means that Susie averages commissions on the inventory that's going to his Jubi bucks. That increases, which means that you're overriding Susie anyway because you personally work. That increases. What did Aya Boomy Moore tell us this evening, ladies and gentlemen? She said, make the decision. I'm telling you tonight to make the decision to live the life that you want, and the more you give, the more you get. Benefit those that are around you. So, let's say I want to move Jane average. I was thinking, Susie won the contest. I'm gonna place Jane with Susie, but wait a minute. I see that Susie's building a team here too. And here's Sergio. And see, I want you to see something, ladies and gentlemen. In this box, now right now you don't see anything now, but in this box, you're going to be able to see what's Sergio's rank. Is he an associate? Is someone that's not upgraded yet? None of us have upgraded because that ability hasn't been there yet. But maybe he is. I'm assuming Sergio is a dude. Maybe he's Jade. Maybe he's Ruby. Maybe he's Emerald. Maybe he's Diamond. You're also going to be able to see Sergio's personal qualifying volume. That's the impact of any purchases that he's making, which can include to his subscription and any purchases his customers make. You're going to see his group qualifying volume. So at this point, he doesn't have much of a group. It's him. But if he had a team, you would see his group qualifying volume. And something that programming will be adding to this, I don't know if it will be live tonight, and it really wouldn't matter if it's live tonight or not, but it will be live by the time we get here. You're also, with any person that you personally enroll, only for those that you personally enroll. So let's say Jane, all right? For anyone that you personally enroll, you're going to be able to see their Jubi points. Does Jane have 100 Jubi points, 1,000 Jubi points, 10,000 Jubi points, 100,000 Jubi points? Now, let me tell you why this is important, okay? Follow me here. Strategy. Meeting after the meeting. Optional Q&A. I'm sorry, optional training. Follow me here. If Susie won your contest, Susie won, congratulations. Let's say in time, you've got Jane here, and Jane has 10,000 Jubi points, and you can see that. Now, Susie won't see that. Only the person who enrolled Jane will see that. You are her enroller. Now, let me show you how powerful this is all going to be. You can say, okay, Susie, you won the contest, congratulations. And Susie, let's leverage this even more. I'm going to place Jane in your in your organization. Now, Jane's already a Diamond Director. How would we know? Because it would show right here, right? That's $200 a month, Susie. And Jane, she's got several thousand Jubi points herself. And so that means when I place Jane and she's earning on a daily basis, that means that you're going to earn some additional revenue every single night. But I'm going to tell you what we want to do here, Susie. Let's really leverage this. Let's really leverage this. Who on your team, maybe on your front line, someone that you personally enroll, maybe you're still sitting on your first level, who's really working? Who's really building this? Have you run a contest lately? Well, yeah, I just ran a contest. Well, who won? Well, Sergio just won the contest. I tell you what. How about we place Jane in Sergio's organization? By the way, Jane, what's Sergio's rank? Well, Sergio's he's Jade. Okay. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we get a hold of Sergio and say, hey, Sergio, I've got a leg that I'm going to place in your organization, but I need you to do me a favor, buddy. I need you to get to Ruby. I need you to get to Emerald. I need you to get to Diamond. Oh, by the way, if you get to whatever I said, if you get to Emerald, you get to Diamond. As soon as you get to Diamond, buddy, now, I got to do this quick because I'm going to be placing Jane somewhere. You get to Diamond. If we can get you to Diamond tonight, buddy, tell you what, I'm going to place a leg, and that leg already has, the person that I'm going to place directly to you already has 10,000 Jubi points. Oh, what do I have to do to upgrade? Oh, I'm just going back off. Are you seeing the power of how you can use that? Are you seeing the power of how you can use that? Are you seeing that now what I can do is I can click on Sergio, and I could say, let's move Jane with Sergio. I'm going to confirm the move. I have to put in my PIN number. Remember, you should have already set up your PIN number, and if you're new to us, you'll go as you're setting everything up. It'll show you how to set up your PIN number. It's real simple. Now, please confirm that you're moving Jane under new placement sponsor Sergio. And once this change is completed, it cannot be undone. Ladies and gentlemen, please only do this if you're certain this is what you want to do. because you coming back to support saying, well, I have second thoughts. Support's not going to be able to do anything about it. And think about this for a moment, okay? Because if you move Jane to Sergio, Sergio starts getting commissions as a result of, and then you come back and you want to change your mind. Is that now fair to Sergio? No. So we want to make sure that you are sure before you make the move. The company's going to give you 60 days before you have to place anyone, and if you decide not to place anyone, then they will be permanently where they already are in your organization, okay? All right, so now, yes, I want to do this. I'm going to click OK. Congratulations, you've successfully assigned Jane as a new placement sponsor. I'm sorry, you've personally, excuse me. Oh, you've personally assigned Jane a new placement sponsor. Who's that new placement sponsor? In this case, is Sergio. So now, you enroll Jane. She was personally enrolled by you. You keep the enrollment bonuses. You still get your 10%. I'm assuming you're diamond. You still get your 10%. Now Sergio picks up 0.5%. He needs to be emerald anyway to pick that up. So this is a way that we can leverage to get him upgraded if he hasn't already upgraded. Let's assume that Susie is at least emerald. Maybe she's also diamond. All right? She's going to get 0.5%. And now Jane's entire organization. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you just some examples. I won't mention names. Okay? And some of these numbers may have changed. I've got a buddy of mine I personally enrolled. Last time I checked, he had about 27 personal enrollees. Great job. But he has over 3,000 enrollees in his team. I ran a contest. I'm still running that particular contest. Now, he can still win that contest, but he's got some ground to make up. So let's say he doesn't win the contest, okay? If he doesn't win the contest, he's a leg that I'm going to place with someone who did win the contest. And what that person who won the contest will now inherit will be someone in that organization that's personally enrolled 27, but has 3,000 enrollees in our team. There's another person, and it blew me away because they have 2 personal enrollees. Remember this. You are 1 recruit away from an explosion. This person has 2 personal enrollees. They had, the last time I saw it, 568 in their team. Now, with the contest that I'm running, this person's got to go a long way to win that contest. There's a good chance they probably won't win that contest. So I'm going to wind up probably placing this leg with someone who won the contest. Or, better yet, I may place that leg in someone who won the contest's organization. So, for instance, maybe I place this leg with this person here who didn't necessarily win the contest, but they went for it. And by doing so, we impact this leg, another leg, and guess what? Since I personally enrolled them both, I don't lose any of my enrollment bonuses and my daily enrollment overrides. Now, I know this is a lot. Some of you got it, some of you don't. If you feel like that what we just did, you have a much better sense of the Jubi suite, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't really get it. Now I get it. If that's you, put a Y in your questions box. Man, I got it. Man, I got it. Man, oh, there you go. There you go. Now, one of the things I would encourage you to do, leaders, is as you're running your contest, I'm a big Joe and Susie average dude because I got kicked out of college. I don't have a college degree. I started in this industry and I struggled and I struggled, and I still remember what it was like delivering pizzas in that 1988 Hyundai that smoked, that had no air conditioning. July, I smelled like pizza and smoke. I still remember that. I still remember that. So my heart is for Joe and Susie Average. Now, I know we've got some great leaders out there, and man, they fish and they land the 10 percenters, and I love my 10 percenters. The 10 percenters are the ones that tend to build the biggest organizations and be the biggest recruiters. I love them. My heart is for my Joe and Susie Averages, because I know that if my Joe and Susie Averages make money, then my 10 percenters, they can get off the recruiting treadmill. They don't have to keep recruiting, jumping from a deal to a deal to a deal to a deal, all right? And so if we build a solid core of Joe and Susie Averages, which will always represent 90% or so of a company's organization, and they're making money, oh my gosh, then my Joe and Susie superstars make far more money than they've ever made. So one of the things I want to say to my leaders real quickly, when you are constructing your contests, sure, you want to construct them in such a way that there's tremendous leverage, but don't forget about your Joe and Susie averages. So maybe you have a contest, and maybe you don't do a contest for your entire team of personal enrollees. Maybe you do a contest with a few of your Joe and Susie averages, something that they can win. Let me tell you something that one of our teammates did the other day. They were doing a training with their team, and because they had personally enrolled quite a few, then they knew they were going to have quite a few legs they could do some placements with. And so they had a webinar or a conference call or what have you, and they gave out a little homework assignment, something that they wanted their personal enrollees to do. And the first two that completed that assignment, that leader said, you know what? You just got a leg. Oh, gosh, I love it. You just got a leg. Now, maybe that leg is, I don't know that leg would be this. Maybe, I can give you an example. I'll give you a really good example. And then I'll open it up for a few optional Q&A, and then we'll call it a night, okay? We're still at IHOP. We're still at Waffle House. It's the meeting after the meeting, okay? I'll give you a really good example. I've got a gentleman I personally enrolled. I would consider him Joe Average, okay? Great guy. So far, I haven't seen where he's been a 10 percenter, a guy who's going to personally enroll 500 folks and build a team of thousands. He's enrolled a few. But one of the folks that he enrolled, I know has already loaded funds with several thousands of dollars in anticipation of the upgrade button going live, and then purchasing the $200 monthly subscription and a couple thousand, maybe even more, of Jubi bucks. So I already know that person that he enrolled, once they give the Jubi bucks away, will have a nice set of Jubi points. Okay? Now, he doesn't have a huge leg yet, but that one leg is going to generate some really nice commissions because of the one person that I know is going to have a decent Jubi point total to get started with. So maybe I run a contest with my Joe and Susie averages. It could be something really simple. It may not even be tied to personal enrollment. It may be tied to upgrading. It may be tied to something that they can do. But if I can get my Joe and Susie averages engaged, and I can get them getting some type of reward for their engagement, because we saw Joe and Susie averages eventually become Joe and Susie star, because they started building a story. What if you took a couple Joe and Susie averages, for those of you who are getting a lot of personal enrollees, and you were able to make a poster child or two? By the way, what I'm sharing with you tonight, this is how we built 4 7-figure businesses up to this point. We'd understand that compensation plan and how could we help people. And so as we round third here, open up for our optional Q&A. Make a decision. My enroller that helped me to build our first 7-figure business, she said this evening, make a decision. I'm telling you to make a decision, to live life that you want and give and benefit those that are around you. Leaders, what I would do, even if you have 3, 4, 5, 600 personal referrals, I wouldn't try to build 3, 4, 5, 600 legs. I'd condense it down, build a few legs at a time, help a lot of people in those legs make a lot of money, help them hit their ranks. I haven't even talked about helping people get to their car bonus. What if by doing that you help someone get a Porsche, you help someone get a Mercedes, you help someone get a Corvette, you help them get to 1-star ranks, which gives them deeper levels of pay, which means they make more money. If they make more money, you're going to eventually make more money. You help them get to 2-star ranks, deeper levels of pay, they make more money. That's going to roll up. You're going to eventually make more money. Deeper levels of pay, presidential, maxing out the 8-level compensation side of things, they make more money. That's going to roll up. Your folks are going to make more money, and their folks are going to make more money, and their folks are going to make some more money, and that's going to come up to you. And then we make this statement come to life. Make a decision to live life, the life that you want, and benefit those that are around you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us here at IHOP or Waffle House. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take 15 minutes. I'm going to address as many questions as we can in 15 minutes, and then we will call it a night. And it's amazing how many of you are still here. Fantastic. Okay. Someone wants to make sure. Thank you, David. Let me show you real quickly. If you have not gone through the comp plan, it was posted in full last Tuesday, I believe it was. Come under your home page, under Corp Overview, and then download compensation plan right here. Okay, that's a full comp plan. Let me show you real quickly. If you want to max out the comp plan, you know, eventually get to presidential where you get all 8 levels. I won't cover everything, but you can max out the comp plan with 6. Now remember, what I'm saying now, you can earn from the daily revenue sharing without what I'm about to share now. What I'm sharing now is how you max it out. I mean, how you just absolutely, how do you build it to the point where eventually you could be earning $100,000 a week max from the daily rewards, because you built up a very large point total because you had a large team generating a lot of commissions. All right, 6 personal enrollees that hit the diamond rank. So if you had 6 people that you personally enrolled that were at $200 a month, or they did at least $200 a month in personal production, all right, but you only have to have 3 legs. So even though to get down to the full 8 levels, now some other qualifications, don't have time to talk about that in terms of volume, but you could max out this comp plan with 3 legs. Now, well, wait a minute, but I thought I had 6. Yeah, what you could have done is you could have placed the other 3 diamonds linked to the first 3 diamonds. Okay? So some of you might go 5 wide. Some of you might go 10 wide. Some of them, you know, but, and I've got over 100 personal enrollees, and I'm certainly not a Tyron that recruits like the wind, or a coach, or a Frank, or what have you. But I can tell you that I'm not going 20, 30 wide at this point. I'm going to focus on building some strong legs. And then once I build those strong legs and we get a lot of people promoted to some of these ranks, we get people earning their car bonuses, and we get people, you know, whether they're Joe and Susie stars and superstars and averages, making some money, Then maybe I'll go on another recruiting binge. Man, I'm going to go on a recruiting binge, and then maybe I'll build another 3 legs. But right now, my concentration, I'm condensing that instead of trying to build 50 different legs, condensing that to just a few legs. I know some of our teammates that we've talked to that have large personal rollies, they're condensing it to 3, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 legs. Okay. All right, here we go. More questions. All right, Joe is asking, so to be certain, we've got to March the 22nd to load funds for the founders. Yes, what was happening, Joe, and I appreciate that question, is some folks were getting set up with the Jubi account, which I strongly suggest you consider getting the Jubi account. It's going to be a great payout solution, far less fee intensive than getting paid out with the processors like STP, Solid Trust Pay, and Payza. But that process of how that all worked was a little bit lengthier than what we originally anticipated and understood. And so as a result, it was taking a little bit longer for some folks who were getting the Jubi account with the expressed intention to load funds because of the Jubi account. And so the president this past Monday, extended that March 15th to March 22nd. I wouldn't wait until March 21st or 22nd to start the process of loading, okay? But yes, that has been extended to March the 22nd. Pay attention this coming Monday to the presidential address on the corporate update call, because there might be more details related to that, related to how the first commission run is going to go. The first commission run is coming very, very soon, and that's why I'm hoping that March 22nd is pretty much a line in the sand, so that from there, then the first commission run from the packages, purchases, and the subscriptions, and so on and so forth, and then after that, you'll be able to you'll see eCash for those of you who are building teams and getting commissions. You'll see funds in your eCash. If you want to commission some or all of that out, you'll be able to. If you want to take that eCash and purchase more Jubi Bucks to give away so that you earn more Jubi points, you'll be able to do that as well. Okay? Give me a moment. I've got some 10%ers on here. We love our Joe and Susie averages, and we love our Joe and Susie 10%ers. Okay, give me a moment. Someone said the pancakes were good. Thank you, Walter. Give me a moment. Okay, 3 legs got that. Give me a moment. Are there going to be requirements? Great question, Shelley. Are there going to be requirements that you have for the daily rewards? Yes, there are. They're very simple, and when you go back here under your comp overview, go back here under your comp overview and you download that. The comp overview is in sections, all right? The first section covers retail sales, what happens when a customer buys something from you. The second section covers the JubiRev leadership bonus and the ways the company pays from that JubiRev leadership bonus. In that section, it also gives you the requirement for you to earn on the daily revenue, and even once you build to certain Jubi point totals, the requirements there. They're fairly simple. Everyone can hit those very simple requirements, but yes, it is there, okay? Give me a moment here. Give me a moment. Someone asked, was this particular call or webinar recorded? I would love to say yes, but unfortunately it was not. So let me tell you what's going to wind up happening, okay? What we're going to wind up doing is doing a recording. Now, we've done some training in the past on the Jubi Suite. Of course, we've got some new functionalities to the Jubi Suite. So yes, we will do some recordings on that. But this one, unfortunately, I do apologize, was not recorded, okay? I don't think we got an audio of tonight either. I may check because someone normally does our audios for us, so maybe they did surprise me with that. But the video, no, that was not recorded. I do apologize. Okay, give me a moment.
No.
Okay,
No,
thank
no
you.
surprise.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you sent in a question before 10:30 p.m. Eastern, it's going to be tough for me to see it because we had you responding so much. I've answered all the questions I have seen since 10:30. So if you have a question that I've not gotten to, then re-enter it. If not, it looks like I've gotten most of these. I've gotten these questions answered. There were some questions earlier. I may have missed those because of all the other responses. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Someone is asking, can a church or can a nonprofit be signed up as an entity? Yes, they can. Now, I'm not an accountant, so they would, maybe we want to check with their accountant to see what does that mean in terms of a nonprofit status and how that all works. But sure, a church, a nonprofit can be registered as an entity. Okay. Hey, Vince, you got video for me, or is that audio? Okay. Someone is doing a recording, and we'll just check to make sure. So if we got a good recording, we'll get it to programming. But they've got to check to see if we've got a good recording. We'll see. Okay. Hey, Jeff. On that, do me a favor, buddy. Would you get back with support on that and let them know exactly what you let me know, and ask support to Jeff? I tell you what, Jeff, you know how to reach out to me on that, Jeff. Okay, if you would, please. Thank you, sir. Beyond this one, because I'll forget. Once the webinar goes away. This is a great question. I've got a great question here. This one I'm going to take just a little bit of time to answer. Okay. Someone asks, and this is, I want to say your name so you know, Adam. This is for you, buddy. This is for you. Okay. Adam is asking about, from a compliance standpoint, okay, in this industry of ours, the work-at-home industry, particularly dealing with a company that has a multi-tiered compensation structure, there are obviously certain regulations and regulators that oversee our industry. Okay, now I'm going to give you an example, Adam. About 20 years ago, in the 1990s, there was a new compensation model that emerged known as a binary comp plan. And some of you are familiar with the binary, where you join, and in order to earn commissions, you sponsor one on the left, you enroll one on the left, you enroll one on the right. And then you go and you basically build a two-team system. And you typically earn to an unlimited depth, but you've got to do some balancing acts, as it were, before you get your commission, so on and so forth. Well, early on, Adam, in the evolution of that compensation model, there were quite a few things that the regulators did not like. And in some cases, there were companies that got completely shut down because they did not fit what regulators were looking for. Okay? All right, so we've seen that happen before. You don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Now, what happened is the attorneys that represent this industry, and again, we're at Waffle House, guys, so if you've got to go, I appreciate it, you being here. I want to make sure you get this, that you don't miss this, because maybe you didn't get a chance to get some questions answered or get more insight. Now, what happens in this industry, Adam, is typically you've got some top tier MLM attorneys. They're a small fraternity, okay? And so you hear some of the same names. Gerald Nerer. Gosh, I just said that now. A few of the names: Jeffrey Babner, Kevin Grimes, all right, Kevin Thompson. You hear some of the same attorneys because there's a small fraternity of attorneys that are considered the top flight attorneys for companies in the MLM industry. For instance, Gerald Nerer was there when Amway was taken to task by the U.S. government. Just because a regulator comes in doesn't mean they're right. Just because a regulator comes in doesn't mean that it's doomsday for the company. That's par for the course. The U.S. government took Amway to task in the late 70s, and Amway kicked their patootie. Gerald Nerer was a part of that legal team. And so he's one of the stalwarts in the industry, by the way. He and his partner are our MLM attorneys. Okay, so in any event, these attorneys, they work on retainers. So you and I are looking to build residual income, right? Well, so are these attorneys. And there's typically also a group of consultants. Same thing. You've got a group of consultants. Harold Sheffield, as an example, out there in Arizona. Dr. Keith Lagos up there in Illinois, and a few other top-tier consultants that they tend to work with the attorney. So this is what happens. You want to build. I was a part owner of a network marketing company once upon a time. Didn't quite make it, but we learned a lot. So what happens is you go to a company, you go to an attorney. You want to start a company, you go to an attorney. You know you need a good attorney. You're on retainer. You're paying monthly for that retainer, right? And then if you don't already have a consultant, you know, he normally has in his Rolodex consultants that he tends to work with or she tends to work with, and vice versa. Maybe you go to the consultant to help you map out the marketing plan, the marketing strategy, a little bit of the comp plan, and then he or she tends to send you to an attorney to really go through the comp plan and so on and so forth. And so what tends to happen, Adam, is that you'll have attorneys on retainer, consultants on retainer. What does that sound like to me? Monthly residual income. So here's what happened. So these companies had these binary compensation models, and some of them were under extreme regulatory scrutiny. Now, if a company goes down, if a company closes down, not only do the reps lose money, not only do the owners or the founders or the management team lose money, who else loses money? The attorneys, the consultants. So guess what these smart people did? They started getting together, comparing notes, figuring out what didn't the regulators like. And they started writing the compensation plans, the binary compensation plans, and putting requirements in to appease the regulators, because they understood what tended to work in the industry that the regulators tended to be okay with, and they just needed to find out what the regulators didn't like. So likewise, in the revenue sharing world, no different. We've seen companies with the revenue sharing model that had some regulatory headwinds. Do you throw out the baby with the bathwater? No. If you had been with USANA and you had been there from day one, and they had a binary model, and you would still be, you were there when they got started, pre-launch in JubiRev, and you caught the vision and you worked that business, you would not be on tonight's webinar. You wouldn't have to be. You wouldn't be on tonight's webinar. So the revenue sharing model is undergoing, I believe, a similar evolution to what the binary model went through 20 years ago. And now we know the binary compensation model is a staple. And so what we saw a company had a revenue sharing model. Man, they did immensely well. Didn't dot some I's, didn't cross some T's. And I can tell you, if you go and you look at that compensation document, you're going to notice there are some requirements that company didn't have. You're going to notice, for instance, that particular company didn't have a lot of customers. That's why we said in our income opportunity, the income opportunity is only as good as what? The product offering. We continue to say that. Why? Because you've got to have real products and real services that people are going to use. And also, you can also see, for instance, that we're not just giving away something that's virtual. Let's say, no disrespect, something like a sample bid to a penny auction. No disrespect. Maybe regulators didn't see that as a viable product or service, especially if very few of those were used. But now, what happens when people are actually getting physical, tangible products. By the way, our attorney loves that. What happens when you have a lot of customers, more customers in time than you have the promoters or the affiliates? We know regulators like that. What happens when you have a great amount of your revenue coming from outside of promoters purchasing Jubi Bucks? Customer activity, that Jubi rebates, that's going to be one of the biggest drivers of revenue. Why? Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. We're already into the multiple tens of thousands in our pre-launch. What happens when we go in our soft launch and our daily revenue start, and now we can have all these other customers? Imagine, Adam, that company you asked me about, they had, I'm told, 700,000 paying promoters. What if those 700,000 paying promoters had access to Jubi rebates? And they were spending money they were already spending, but through Jubi rebates, and getting customers to do the same. We would have had millions. We will have millions of customers generating millions of revenue, because every time somebody goes to Jubi rebates, as an example, the company might earn 1 or 2% net. So my family, we spend $500 at least a month at Walmart, probably more than that, because we do a lot of our grocery shopping there. And so we're simply going to transfer spend from just going down to regular Walmart to going to Jubi rebates, getting a Walmart gift card, getting 2, 3, 4, 5% cash back, whatever Walmart pays. Then take the gift card, go down and spend. But guess what just happened with the company? Company nets 1, 2%, maybe. I don't know what the exact numbers are. Times all of those transactions, tons of revenue. So now we know this, and I'll finish with this, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry that I didn't get to the rest of it, but I know a lot of you have been asking, or you've been wanting to have a good, solid answer. If there was a company that you were aware of that had the revenue sharing model that ran into some regulatory headwinds, okay? Here's the big thing that we know regulators are going to look at. Do you have real customers? Not just customer registrations, people that just, registered and never used your product, but do you have real customers? That's one of the reasons why we're going to be sampling. Yes, Mr. Regulator, look at all these customers that got our product. That's one of the reasons why we want to give the Jubi Bucks as well, so that when they come back, they've consumed their sample, they come back, and there's an incentive for them to purchase again. That's why we're going to have our travel engines as well. That's why we're going to have Jubi rebates and go and look at the compensation plan. You can't have a person just come in here at JubiRev, Jubi Max, make a large purchase, treat it like it was an investment, and build up to 100,000 Jubi points and not have some group volume. See, we know what Mr. Regulator didn't like. We know what Mr. Regulator wants to see. So it becomes, it's not rocket science. You build your model based on what you know they like, and then you get rid of those things that you know they don't like. Not a problem with a revenue sharing model. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. We've seen this in the industry for years and years and years. It's called the Grand Poobah Pool. It's called that when you got to a certain rank, most people never got there, the 10%ers got there, then you got a portion of the company's profit sharing or revenue sharing every month or every quarter, where the company put 1 or 2 or 3% of its gross revenues into a pool. The only difference is the company here is putting up to 50% of its revenue in a pool, sharing that with everyone, but you can't it's not an investment. You can't just come in here and just buy some product and never do anything and expect, no. That's why we'll never say terms like percentages. We're going to stay away from terminology that we know is problematic. We're not going to talk about deposits and percentages and compounding and all that investment-related stuff. And here's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. We love everyone. But if people come here thinking this is an investment or a money game or a high-yield investment program or a hype, we love you, but we need to love you over there. In other words, we only want folks coming here that have a commitment. Don't mean you got to be great at recruiting and sponsoring, but you got a commitment of helping the company drive some revenue. So, Adam, oh, let me show one other thing, Adam. That particular company you asked me about, love the owner, great heart, okay? One of the things our company did, and I'm not at liberty to mention who the person is. I'll let the president deal with this, okay? But he comes with great accolades in this industry, but he's an attack dog. Our general counsel. He's not a person that lies down. He's not a person, when the regulator comes, he will. Regulators are going to come at some point. Hey, wants to take a look at the books, wants to see our compensation model, wants to see, hey, where's your revenue being derived from? Is it coming just from the promoters making purchases, or do you actually have customer revenue? How many customers, real customers, not just, you know, a registered customer? How many real customers do you have for every one promoter? Those are going to be the types of questions they're going to ask. Okay. And now, if there's a little challenge, we got a guy who's not just going to wave the white flag. Not just going to wave the white flag. So the company went out and got a general counsel who's an attack dog, who's going to fight and vehemently defend Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, and her interests. So, Adam, I sleep very well at night, buddy, and I want you to do the same. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been absolutely awesome. And prayerfully, for those of you who have had a question about the regulatory and what have you, prayerfully that helps you. Prayerfully that helps you. I hope this got recorded. If it didn't, we've shared that in multiple forums before, so we'll make sure that we have some type of recording for those that may have that question that you'll be able to direct them to. Remember, tonight, we're really 1 o'clock in the morning. They're going to reset. It may take about 30 minutes to reset, 1 o'clock Eastern, that is. So it'll be Friday morning. And then you'll be able to use the Jubi Suite. And it will go live, and it will be permanent. I will tell you that yours truly will probably only make a couple of moves right now, because I really want to see, before I make more of my moves, I've got some folks that have won some contests. I want to see the volume in there, in some of those boxes you saw. I want to be able to see some of the ranks, so on and so forth. So, you know, if you decide to use it now, just remember that it's going to be permanent. If you want to hold off, like I'm doing in many cases, feel free to do so. Plan out your strategy on how to really build that to impact your team the most. And I promise you, as you impact your team, it's going to impact you. The more you give, the more you get. We love each and every one of you. Tomorrow at 12 noon, we'll be right back here. Of course, we won't go through the detail that we've done in the meeting after the meeting, but we'll be right back here tomorrow, 12 noon. We love each and every one of you. Let's change the world together, starting with yours. Remember, with Jubi Rev, Jubi Max, not just a company, it's a movement. Good night, everyone.